Oh, it's the meme craze that's sweeping the internet. No, it's not Bernie Sanders mittens.
What?
It's Tall Vampire Lady.
Oh, Tall Vampire Lady. You tall drink of blood.
You have to just pay attention to the trends on Twitter or even like Google autocomplete. Do you know what I mean? That's the real... You want to talk about like predictive... algorithms and they're going to read our minds, and Microsoft wants to buy dead people's social media accounts so they can make Black Mirror a reality. Forget all that.
What?
Just start typing something in. And the best part is, it's really only like 26 letters and nothing's going to start with Z. If Zayn from formerly of One Direction, goes on a killing spree, maybe you're going to be out of luck. But I think a killing spree would pop up under K, right? So there's probably like, let's say there's like 15 out of the 26 operative letters that you really need to watch out for. Every hour you could just get a computer to run through to enter those in, like they're going to search in Google, get the 10 results, and then take that, print it out or whatever, or flash it on a screen, and you could be part of this predictive revolution. You could be on top of it, because all the time I'm always on Twitter. Yeah, even though I'm not. I've never sat down and went, I'm gonna log half an hour of Twitter. I've never done that because I'm either responding to things that listeners post or whatever, or I get somebody mentions me, or I have to go and like promote one of the 5 podcasts that I have. Yes. And so I just end up in Twitter. And then while I'm searching for something, the trends come up, or on Twitter, they just show you the trends. And when I saw Tall Vampire Lady, I'm like, I don't know what these kids are on. What are they on?
What are they talking about?
And then I was going to Google something, and I Googled, I was typing in somebody's name started with a T, and Tall Vampire Lady, because I'm like, what is going on with Tall Vampire Lady? So I finally tracked down Tall Vampire Lady, and it's a Resident Evil thing. Right. Because this new game, Resident Evil Village is coming out. Yes. And there's a tall vampire lady in it, I guess. I mean, nobody knows what the game is about. Yeah. And it's clearly going to be weird because it's Japanese, although is it even really Japanese anymore? But I don't know. Resident Evil has always been strange and goofy. Yes. Jill Sandwich and that sort of thing. Jill Sandwich is trending. But for some reason, like you are, trapped in a house that's supposed to have a gothic horror sort of bent. Yeah, it's supposed to be zombies, but now it's werewolves and vampires or whatever. So we got the Mystic River trifecta. And I don't know, can't explain that joke. Okay. It's not even a joke.
All right.
But there's like a hot vampire lady in it who happens to be very tall. And I don't mean tall. like look out, Elizabeth Debicki, run and hide, because she's really tall. And she's tall specifically because giantess. She ducks under, she's a giantess basically. She ducks under this door to like come into the room. Yeah. And somebody on Kotaku went back and found out the average height of a door in a 15th century castle or something like that, and figured out that Tall Vampire Lady is 8 feet tall.
Was there a new trailer that was released recently?
It's all from a trailer, I guess.
Because I remember when you showed this to me, because you were like, you guys see this thing that's trending, and it's, I was like, okay, Tall Vampire Lady, what is this? And but I remember seeing her from like the initial teaser trailer.
Yeah, she was probably,
but she didn't. You couldn't tell how tall she was.
Featured in this way.
Yeah, right. She wasn't ducking through a doorway, so you couldn't tell how incredibly tall she was. Yeah.
So anyway, now she's Tall Vampire Bae, and everybody wants her to step on them, and it's like people. I'm amazed we didn't sexualize the Bernie Sanders mittens.
Wow.
There's a lot of positions that I've seen him photoshopped into, but not enough.
Oh my goodness!
Apparently.
I have seen Deadpool on his
sutra.
lap, doing like some sort of Deadpool-y position, but that's a verb now.
So anyway, it's like a hot, gross vampire. They said vampire evil. No, vampire good. Vampire did it again. Resident Evil 7 is redneck torture family. Yes. And they're all gross, and so they went, what if we got the sex appeal and turned it around too? So it's just going to be, you're going to be shooting 500 times a hot vampire lady that won't die for some reason. Even
Right.
though the whole point of Resident Evil is shooting zombies in the head.
Yeah, and they're gross zombies.
I don't like it.
Because it's not what the is it because do you not like it because it's not what
There's nothing,
the series has been?
There's nothing.
Previously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know they have to innovate. And
Yeah.
and 6 was the apotheosis of everything that the Resident Evil series had been at that point.
Remind me what 6 was again.
6 was, it doesn't, none of the plots matter. They don't matter. That's the problem. But 6 was like, it came after some of the Paul W.S. Anderson movies.
Okay, right.
Which you have seen the best parts of those.
But I haven't seen the whole thing.
Jump in and kick in, and the guys
running
and the dogs
down a
and
building,
Wentworth Miller and
Yeah.
and the chick from Heroes are fighting the guy, and he's like, ooh, and he's going super fast, and it's all like, the Rich Evans is laughing at it the whole time. You don't remember. Anyway, it's just crazy over the top, and I feel like 6, whether they meant to or not, is like the video game version of those movies. Resident Evil is always ridiculous, but it's ridiculous in its own personal sort of way. Oh my God, its own kind of way. But then, like, Paul W.S. Anderson turned it into this bombastic, like wire work action type thing. And I feel like it fed back into the series so that, 6 is the one where you're, thanks, got it. Okay. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks. It's that one. And people were just fed up, I think, at that point. And so Resident Evil they were either going to, or this is prompted by it, but they went back and went, survival horror roots. Let's get back to that. Also, first-person games are hot right now, is what the internet machine is telling me. It was on trending. And so they made a first-person, what I consider to be kind of a boring first-person game. The whole thing about Resident Evil is you have terrible controls. That's the whole thing about Resident Evil. The controls suck.
What?
And you're seeing detailed backgrounds, and you're in them. And part of the challenge is just getting around. You've seen me run around that balcony 14 times to try to get enough speed so I can get away from Mr. X and then go somewhere else, right?
Absolutely.
That's why those remakes they should have gone that direction, and they have, only just by remaking their old content. I can't wait for the Resident Evil 4 remake. But like the new Resident Evil is like, it's boring because all you can do is be in a first person and just walk around and like, there's the rooster key or whatever. And oh no, here's a scripted sequence that I'm basically just going to watch while the guy drags me by my foot and stabs me, but I don't die. And then I shoot him 250 times with 9mm ammo. It's not the same thing. You've just made like a slow paced, boring Doom.
It's like they forgot or don't know what made the initial game so good and so compelling.
Well, no, I think they know. I just think that there were 6 games.
Yeah.
And so
How do you
they
change
added
that?
Yeah, they added a 3D and a more kind of kicky action sort of aesthetic to the 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. But I can't tell them anything because they're doing great. But the success of the remakes, I think, will hopefully keep them making the third person run around the zombie, kick him at the right time, sort of thing. I don't know. And Japan doesn't drive it anymore because Japan used to drive it. Right? Doesn't matter. The U.S. market's huge. Penetration's full.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And Japanese people are just playing, Pokemon on their phones or whatever anyway. Like it's a totally different market. So I wonder what they think about 7 and now the forthcoming 8 and their first person perspective. I would guess they also buy it because it is what it is.
Yeah,
but they don't like it.
You think so?
All that much.
I was thinking as you were talking, the tall vampire lady reminds me of like a hot vampire version of Mr. X. It's like, how can we take this and make it a little different? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking.
Whoa, X, give it to me, senpai.
Yeah, right.
Hot female Mr. X. Well, I gotta write that into Reddit. Onto my notes here.
Yeah, okay.
Well, anyway, so I don't know. That's it. That's all the video games we'll talk about, I promise. But
all right,
that's kind of what's going around right now, and we had to get that out.
Mm-hmm.
But
because it's trending.
Yeah, because it's trending. How do we get Bernie and Hot Vampire Lady together?
Well, she could come out of the door and he'll just be sitting there unimpressed. That's how we do it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. How do we top that, though? She doesn't. The thing is that she doesn't really do anything other than she's got
Doesn't she? She says
huge
something,
Wolverine claws
right?
that come
Oh,
from nowhere.
yeah, right.
So she's got the claws, and then he's got the mittens.
He's got the mittens. I don't know.
Or the claws are coming out of the mittens. I don't know. How do people do this? I don't even know. But it doesn't matter because I refuse to engage. And I will engage in getting this show started, the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
And we're here to bring you the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment, like Hot Vampire Lady. Yes. But also, I want to see her face off against Elizabeth Debicki. What do we got? What do we got?
Well, Elizabeth Debicki can drive a car from the back seat with her feet. So we got that.
Birdie in the passenger seat.
Yeah, there you go. Just unimpressed.
I'm once again asking you to roll down the window.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and get them. I, mean, I don't know. They're doing a tip off, in a WNBA game. Just get them on there.
They're doing like some sort of like fashion walk off, like who's got like the best dress, or who's dressed to kill the most, or something like that.
Or both of their heads sticking out of the sunroof of a
right.
car.
Okay. So we're doing it
like Shaq,
like a height thing,
yeah.
Are they both as tall as like the pole vault pillar thing, or like how do they?
She's pretty skinny. Maybe tall vampire girl could use Elizabeth Debicki as her pole to vault with.
There you go. Better. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, this all goes in the meme factory, and we'll just that's grist for the mill for later. But what we want to talk about is something not nearly as current.
Oh yeah, well,
not really current at all.
No.
I'm not saying that we always knew that we wanted to talk about the latest episode of Euphoria that came out this week.
Yes.
But I realize that not everybody watches Euphoria, and I think they should.
I think they should, too.
If they're over, 16, let's say. Ironically, it's about kids, maybe for kids, but I don't want kids to watch it.
Well, it's very R-rated stuff, I feel like.
Yeah.
Even though it does feature teenagers and, teens and stuff like that. I've got a question.
Someday we'll get through our intro. I'm glad I planned these things out.
I know. I'm just thinking this happens in this show, and it also happens. I watch the new Sabrina show on Netflix. Are parents now cool with their kids' significant others spending the night in their house?
So.
Why am I seeing this a lot?
Because I don't know. That's a good question.
I find it strange because kids were still doing it when I was in the 90s and the aughts or whatever, but they were sneaking around, and ooh, I gotta go because I don't want your parents to know I spent the night, and they would sneak out the window or something. Or
TV does not reflect real life.
Fair.
I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
And if anything, it reflects itself if it's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Dawson just climbed through that window one too many times.
I don't freaking
and they're
know,
like,
man.
We just can't do that. That's obviously what you do.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to think that we're doing a thing.
Uh-huh.
We are not trying to do a thing. We are
Right.
HBO. So
Yeah.
therefore, we just got really cool dads. We're just letting people stay over.
Seriously. And Sabrina too, in the current season, a lot of the main characters are paired off with different people, and every single one, their significant other is sleeping in their queen size bed with them. I'm like, what is going on? And they're living at home with their parents. So I don't get it. But anyways, Euphoria, really good. Definitely recommend. And you should totally
Watch her wrap the whole show up here.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get us back on track. I'm sorry.
Right. No, look. So we wanted to talk about that, but
Yes.
we started flipping up and down the dial. Or I did at least.
Mm-hmm.
Started looking at other things.
Yeah.
And I was pushed in a certain direction by the sad news of the passing away of Mira Furlan.
Yes.
Who was a star on Lost. She played the French woman,
Yes.
Gabrielle, who just, when you think about it, I think she was really hard done by because the Australian girl, Claire, can just sit there and say, Charlie and my baby, and probably make as much money as everybody else. But I'm fairly certain Mira Furlan probably wasn't making a lot of money, and they had no idea what to do with her character.
No,
and so she just
not
ran
really.
around the woods the whole time.
Yeah.
And maybe was the mother of the one girl who...
I don't even remember. Like, I recognize her.
She was
But-
Ben's daughter, but she was her mother, right? So was she used to be an other with the others and Ben?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was on the other side.
I don't
of the
want to
island.
recover any of these memories.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
But yeah, that and also a long-time star of Babylon 5.
Yes.
Which I realized that I had never watched before.
Mm-hmm.
And, like a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of David Bowie fans post 2015.
Yeah. Right. Sure. 16.
16.
Yeah.
Maybe some psychic David Bowie fans were stocking up. And
Yeah.
I thought, maybe this would be the catalyst for me finally getting into this thing.
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
Everybody I know can't shut up about. Yes, it's true. I've never watched Babylon 5.
Why
would I? I'm a
have-
Star Trek person.
I have also never watched Babylon 5.
Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I have ever?
I
People are
know.
like, oh, you never had a GameCube? No, I had a PS2 and an Xbox.
Yeah.
Why would I get a GameCube?
Yeah. Right.
So we watched Babylon 5.
We did.
Kind of. Because I swear that I am cursed. That or I just pick...
We both are.
Well...
To be fair. We're in this together.
There's a thing that I've done probably a half a dozen times now where I want to start
know.
watching a show and I try to dive in and somehow, and we've gone through like the whole list of ways that you could do this, but somehow I end up watching the second episode before the first episode.
Yep.
And this has literally happened. I think this makes like half a dozen times because I did it with this too.
Yeah. We definitely did it with Game of Thrones.
And the more, no, I can name them all. It was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was.
We did another one recently, and I can't remember what it was.
Well,
besides Babylon
listen
5.
to the old episodes of the show.
Yeah.
We talk about it on the show. But I kind of did it again. Now, this one wasn't my fault.
Yes.
Because how am I supposed to know that there was a pilot movie for Babylon 5
Which
before
is
it
strange to
started
me.
airing in
Yeah.
syndication? You get episode 1, season 1, you start going, right?
Yes, you would
And
think.
so anyway, that's what we did. We watched the first episode, then realized that there was a pilot movie and went back and watched the pilot movie, which honestly, you don't have to watch to enjoy the show.
I don't
but
know that you do.
It's so different that I can't wait to talk about it. There's the huge differences in production in these two things. And it
Yeah.
also made me form a theory that I just want to watch the second episode from now on. Because as people who have another podcast where we watch anime pilots, or that is to
Yes.
say first episodes.
Yes, right.
We have become connoisseurs of the first episode.
Yeah,
the
right.
pilot,
What do they do to
the
grab
hook,
you?
The
Yeah.
introduction of the characters, the introduction of the villain, how they get you back.
Yeah.
And so it's almost, we've all experienced this, especially because pilots, by nature of their production, are often made years before the
yes.
show itself
Right.
comes out. And so sometimes you don't want to do all the things you did in the pilot, or sometimes you can't get somebody back, or
Right.
sometimes it's going you build all new sets or something like that. And so it's just like, we should just cut pilots out. Why are there pilots? So from now on, if somebody tells me to watch a show, I'm going to watch the second episode
Seriously?
first.
You're going to do it?
Well, maybe I'll try it.
Okay.
Suggest a show. Sabrina. I'm going to watch Sabrina episode 2 first. And if I'm hooked and I can understand everything that's going on, then I can go back and watch the first one, and they can play the pilot game on me and go,
Okay.
here's so-and-so hero shot. Oh, she's a witch. She's a little clumsy. That's all, or whatever. But anyway, forget all that.
Right. Yeah.
We watched the first, I guess, 2 first episodes
Yes.
or entries into the world of Babylon 5. We'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
And then because, I don't know, we're probably going to compare that to Trek a lot. And
It's hard not to.
we will end up talking about Deep Space Nine, probably. I thought that we could, since we've seen it recently, talk about what really is kind of the premier sci-fi series right now, The Expanse, and their latest episode.
Oh, okay.
So we're just flipping around the dial.
Oh, boy.
No flipping. No flipping. we're gonna flip.
Well, this is a channel
Gary,
surfing
we're flipping.
episode. Yeah,
Or
right.
Larry, whatever. I mean, most sitcoms, it's just your name. So how many Tims has Tim Allen played?
A lot, I think. He's probably.
But
lost
Gary
track.
Shandling's like, no, I want to be Larry Sanders.
I know, right?
You know.
It's honestly, that would like trip me up. I feel like one letter off from your name.
Yeah, if it was,
it's a little strange.
Barry Scheinfeld or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. It's a little. I don't know. Like I think it would just take me even longer to be like, oh, that's who I am right now. So yeah. Anyways, whew. Yeah, lot to talk about on this episode. Yeah.
I seem like you were taking it away.
Was I?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about, like, I don't mean to talk about Sabrina a whole bunch. I was just thinking about, like, sometimes I like the show. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's like, sometimes I think they do things just because they want to. Like, they'll have, like, musical numbers in the show. Like, some of the characters are in a band and they're like, oh, we're gonna sing now, but it's like covers. It's like always covers. And like, I think they're actually singing them and like they're having fun, but I'm like, why is this happening?
Well, so you know the history of the whole Archie universe.
Yeah, I know.
And, the Archies,
Yes.
Josie and the Pussycats,
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing.
Maybe that's why.
But does that still? Because I know Riverdale is another. Speaking of shows that have gone off the rails,
Yeah.
Riverdale's is.
I mean, I haven't tried it.
Sailed off the rails.
Yeah, I know.
But they did, and I think in an effort to populate the world with characters, have a Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
It just seems like it was even in the cartoons when they would be in I don't know if it was Hanna-Barbera or whatever, when they'd be on the cartoons, they'd have to be, we're the Archies in space or whatever. Like that's like all the limousine stuff was making fun of something specific.
Yeah,
the Brothers Chaps were doing a thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, let me just ask you straight out. Are they still doing that? Because you've watched, for God knows why, every episode of Sabrina so far.
I enjoy it.
But do you see that happening? Do they go to a malt shop, but it's got like, computers in the tables or something? Or like, is there a band, but the band is like, oh no, this is like, this is on my iPad and like, he's got a melodica and we're like.
There is actually not a whole lot of like technology like inserted within it. I don't know.
That's not really what I'm not asking about the aesthetic, but you can't answer a direct question.
I mean,
so maybe I can trick you
yes
into answering
and
the
no.
question later.
There's like this bookshop / malt shop in the town.
Okay, so answer yes.
Yeah.
Why not just say yes?
Yeah. Okay.
They should stop. When are they going to stop that?
What do you mean?
I get that it's a signifier and she just, what's her name looks cute, in the headband or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, when are they going to like update these things? Because they're literally like verging on 60 years old as properties now. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely going to be a Sabrina reboot in another 10 years.
Sure.
I hope they throw all the iconography away because it's not going to matter or mean anything at some point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It has kind of like, it's like in this.
People are gonna be like, "What's a malt? What is that?"
Know. Well, it is in a small town, and there it does kind of. It is like modern times and stuff like that, but it does kind of have like a throwback feel to it.
You're saying that small towns are what make America great. That's what you're saying.
That is not what I was saying.
Well, seems like that's what the show makers are saying. Let's get to the news. Well, the world turns on. It keeps going, but it's going to have to do so without Mr. Larry King.
Yes. I heard that he passed away. It's really sad. He was like 87?
Yes.
Wasn't he like just doing
He's been 87
shows?
for a long time. Did Danny Pudi kill him? That's what I want to know.
Oh, come on. I hope not. No, he did not.
he
did not.
Could not even. And to be fair, I was passing that Danny Pudi thing around a lot. So I do feel like...
You feel responsible?
This might be on me a little bit.
No, I don't think it is.
I also,
mean,
what's
funny.
really on me?
What?
Walter Bernstein. Walter Bernstein was a screenwriter. He was blacklisted in the 50s. And he wrote Failsafe, which was a famous film about it's like the not funny Dr. Strangelove. It's about like a nuclear disaster. And I was talking about that with Gooey, right?
Okay.
We were talking about when nuclear depictions in media.
Right.
First they were radiation makes things big. So it was like ants, Godzilla, and stuff like that. Then it was like, oh crap, this could really happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was things like Failsafe and Dr. Strangelove and like, this apocalypse threatening. Right. And then at some point it flipped to, it's going to happen. So now what?
Yeah, right.
A Boy and His Dog,
yes.
Mad Max, Tank Girl.
Right. Yeah, no, and you literally just talked about this in one of your recent
To the family
shows.
of Walter Bernstein, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
And I think I have to let myself off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's possible that this is a compliment for me. It means that I just have
a finger on the
my
pulse.
brain has its thumbs in so many pies, and I need some fan art of that, please. That I'm just never not going to be talking about somebody who's probably going to pass away, right?
I guess.
None of the people in politics I talk about ever pass away, though.
Well, and it's not like you have like, what is it called? Like the pool of like people who are going to pass like this year. It's not like you're doing that and like you're getting, what is that even called?
You mean I can't make money off of it is what you're saying?
I'm saying you're not trying to. I'm saying you're not, you don't have people, I can't remember what it's called. It's a real thing.
Let me give you a little hint.
Huh.
It makes dumb jokes. It pretends to be gay. And it's friends with T.J. Miller for some reason still.
I don't.
Deadpool. It's called Deadpool.
Oh, right.
You like the fact that Deadpool's so popular that like what a Deadpool is now.
Right.
It has to get your own name.
Yeah, right. No, okay, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't have a Deadpool going, but yeah. I think it would be kind of scary if you did, because I think you. But it's not like you're wishing it on people or anything.
No. This is the I was going to say Twilight Zone, but maybe it's the Michigan J. Frog situation, where I'm trying to turn it to my profit and it won't work. The frog only sings when it's just me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like if there's a way to. I mean, I guess it's something for us to talk about when people do pass away and everything, but like I'm just trying to figure out like this feels like some sort of power or something that you have, but like how do we make it beneficial?
I don't know. we can't talk about it on air anyway. We don't want to share the ideas.
No.
Let's talk about streaming though. Let's talk about the fact that Lupin,
yes,
that show that we were reviewing a couple weeks ago,
yes,
is huge on Netflix. It has been seen by 70 million subscribers.
Wow!
It is no longer number one on their top 10. I believe it's possibly still in the top 10.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is that's going wide.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. It's a very entertaining show, and I recommend it for people to check out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not watching it, but
I don't. Maybe just because we have so much else to watch.
Oh, we do.
I don't know.
We do.
Yeah.
And I wonder how. First of all, Omar Sy has won how many César awards or whatever France gives its great actors.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew that him playing playing a man who is. Do you think they'll ever mention the anime in the?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Show? Or is that not cool enough?
That might not
be
cool enough.
That are cool.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, a guy pretending to be a fictional thief, and then it's like, oh wow, now suddenly so people know who I am.
I wonder if his son will be into the anime or something like that, and be like, "Hey, Dad."
To me, that's a little more. We haven't really got into the son because we haven't watched past the second episode. But the fact that the son's like, "Oh man, I just really love this super old book." Oh, he can't put it down. What? Right? Isn't that dumb?
Do you think it's unbelievable?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That any 14-year-old kid is going to do absolutely what his dad says when his dad is like, his divorced dad.
He doesn't see that.
It almost
often.
makes more sense
Yeah.
that he's watching anime with his friends, and they're like, "Oh, this new movie with this monkey face guy.
Yeah.
It's called Lupin." He's like, "Oh, my dad gave me some book that was like Lupin." He's like, "Maybe I'll check it out." And he's like, "Oh, this is okay."
Yeah, that almost would
Ease
make
us
more
in.
sense.
Gives the son a character. I didn't get the
does.
feeling the son had a character yet.
Not really.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great show. Check it out. despite what I say. Also in streaming, Stars has picked up the Luminaries. Now listen to me. Listen.
What?
The Nevers is a show by Joss Whedon about Victorian superheroes.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. The Luminaries is based on a book by Eleanor Catton about Victorian superheroes.
What?
Well, anyway, The Luminaries, which stars Eve Hewson and Ava Green, is going to be on Stars.
Okay. All right. I could see Eva Green being a superhero in that kind of... don't you think?
On Stars?
No, I'm not like
She's
I meant
been very
like
successful. I was going to say, are the Luminaries her boobs? That's what I need to know. We have to make the joke. We're going to make it fast, and we're going to move on.
And I just meant like in that time period. That's what I meant.
And we're
like,
moving on.
Okay.
But I mean, you put Ava Green on cable, and what are you going to get?
I know.
That's got to stop at some point, right?
Maybe she just like comes into a room and just takes her shirt
Yeah,
off.
maybe she's like...
And they're like, Ava, no, what are you doing?
Yeah, for an audition.
Yeah, right.
She just walks in and is like, zip. They're like, whoa, this is Mrs. Peregrine.
Yeah. And she was like, what? I thought this is
300
not
part
what
3
you want.
down the hall.
Right.
Do you want to be in Mrs. Peregrine? Okay, then zip. All right, there we go. Good. I think it's probably time for some more. It never went away, but is it time for more Victorian stuff? I feel like we had a big run of that. Steampunk was pretty hot.
Yeah,
I feel like we were like cooling off, and like now it seems like it's coming back whether we want it or not.
I feel like there's always going to be some steampunk diehards, who are like super into it and like will devour, books, movies, TV shows that are in that genre.
Well, it's not often that a viewing populace can sustain two of these things at once, So I feel like the Nevers is going to get pitted against the Luminaries. The Nevers, I should say, has Laura Donnelly and Olivia Williams, right? Olivia Williams?
I don't know.
Joss Whedon, standby.
I don't know if I know who those people are off the top
Olivia
of my
Williams
head.
was Moira McTaggart in the first 3... or maybe just the third one. Anyway, doesn't matter. She's in The Postman. Literally, she's never been... No, Rushmore. The guy that Max likes, or the girl that Max likes, the teacher. That's Olivia.
Oh, okay. All
Williams? I know a lot about her. Don't know her last name.
Okay.
My money's on Luminaries right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Why is that?
Because I like Eva Green.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
for obvious reasons. But
Wow.
I think that she's really great. And,
she is good.
I tried to watch that astronaut movie she's in, but I couldn't find the subtitles. And I was like,
Oh.
I don't know French. It's going to be a long time, me trying to work my way through this with a dictionary.
Yeah,
So.
wow.
But that's on streaming now, too, if you want to check that out.
Okay.
So we'll see. Superman and Lois has an expanded series premiere and a special coming out on February the 23rd.
Okay.
And The Flash has had its debut pushed back.
The TV show?
Flash seasons...
Like what season are we on?
Seven.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Why was it pushed back?
Probably
filming?
to just give Superman and Lois a little more room.
Oh, okay.
Because it was going to come out basically the same time.
Yeah, why would you do that and compete against yourself with a tried and true show and something that's like brand new?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is it like the same guy playing Superman who played Superman on the Supergirl show?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'd heard that.
Which doesn't even matter anymore.
I don't know.
Because Supergirl is... Oh, wait, did Supergirl switch to the CW, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started on CBS.
Yes.
I don't know how they let that one get away. But
don't know.
so I guess it doesn't matter now. But it's just like, yeah, he starts on a CBS show, and now he's working at CW, and intellectual property is weird, y'all.
It is. It is weird. And I don't understand, like, why did they put it on CBS in the first place? I think we probably talked about it, but like I just don't understand their line of thinking.
I don't know. Possibly an attempt to sort of diversify. I mean,
and then they're
they've
like,
got a million,
never mind.
They've got all the shows on CW are all.
Yeah.
So maybe Greg Berlanti has power over that, and he's like, let's try to get one out on one of the big three. I don't really know. Mm-hmm. Plus, it doesn't. Are old people going to watch Supergirl? I guess Calista Flockhart was on the show. They probably, depending on how old they are.
How many older people really watch CW shows?
CBS.
Oh, CBS.
It was on CBS.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like, it's Supergirl, young actress. Her sister's gay. There's a lot of strikes against this staying on CBS.
Oh,
I wouldn't pair this. I wouldn't run this after Blue Bloods.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think there's going to be any traction there.
No.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
It went back home where it should have been the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
When are they all going to move to whatever the online thing is called now?
I don't know.
Because it's not DC Universe, right?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
That's where the comic books are.
Oh.
DC Universe was there. Do I? I don't know if the audience is like you.
What?
All I do is just talk. And if the audience is like you, then I got to keep talking. But if the audience isn't like you and they remember what happens from week to week, then it's a big waste of time for the audience.
I'm sorry.
We reported over and over again about the launch of DC Universe, their online streaming platform where we're going to F Batman and we're going to have,
right.
Doom Patrol, which you can just see on HBO Max now. And I think DC and Warner Brothers got wise eventually and went, this is going nowhere. We canceled Swamp Thing after its premiere. Like, we don't know what we're doing. And so now they're just going to roll all that stuff out on HBO because they own a piece of it through Time Warner or whatever.
Uh-huh.
That's why Zack Snyder stuff is going to HBO.
Right.
And so they still have that. And you're not even watching it on you're not watching anything. It's just comics, but they still have that brand, that TM.
Okay, all right.
So they flipped what the TM is going to be. It's still DC Universe, but now it's the home of their comic stuff, which they farmed that out to Comixology, right? That all their stuff was on Comixology before.
Yeah,
so now they're putting all their digital comics in one home, which is DC Universe. But if you just stepped out of a time portal from 2 years ago, you're like, I can't wait for the next season of Doom Patrol on DC Universe. And I'm like, oh, is there going to be a new Doom Patrol series, limited, or is it a full run? Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. So in my defense,
I guess I can't blame
confusing.
you for not being able to keep up.
Yeah,
But
right.
we do talk about it every week.
Okay.
Let's talk about this week, right now. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the fact that Netflix's Bridgerton was renewed for season 2.
I just heard that. That's great news. I'm very excited.
Now that I've heard it described as like,
what?
one of the major conflicts is whether he's going to bust inside or not.
Yep.
Now that the inside busting has been done, where do we go in season 2?
Well, I can answer that if you want to know. So the way that the books work, there's maybe 7 books, and there's 7 Bridgerton children, and so each book follows
an individual busting.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's boys and girls, but it follows the romance, of one particular sibling. So she was the oldest girl in the first season, and then it'll be the oldest boy who's actually older than her will be season 2.
So you have to just get into some new characters? What is this, True Detective?
No, it's the same family. It's just her sibling will be the protagonist instead of her. I don't know if they'll do that for.
Oh, it's like the Incarnations of Immortality series from Piers Anthony.
Sure.
Is Piers Anthony alive?
I don't know.
Not for long.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I'm sure they'll all still be there. It'll just shift who you're following. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I think that's what they're going to do, because that's what the books are. But yeah, so.
All right.
That's what I think.
Get to blasting.
Yeah.
I think that we should switch to movie news.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll talk about the fact that first domino.
Uh-oh. Okay.
James Bond has been postponed to October 8th.
October? Why not just move it to November when you usually come out?
Yep.
That's what I want to know.
Yep.
Is this going to move again?
It's
too early to tell.
It will if the no theaters are open.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I think you called this on previous show.
Well,
I mean, maybe it's not like rocket science to call, but it's kind of it's become the canary in the coal mine for films.
Yeah.
Like if it moves, then,
And they usually announce these things like Sunday night. So this information as regards James Bond is accurate, but we could only speculate on, say, Black Widow,
Jeez.
which the buzz is that it will probably be delayed. I wouldn't be surprised because I think James Bond had always, first week in April was sort of leading the pack in terms of what's Bond going to do.
Yeah.
As goes Bond, so goes everyone else.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Right, exactly. Ugh. I'm so ready for COVID to be over is just really how I feel. And I think most people feel that way too. So it's not a hot take. It's not, but, no. I'm ready for it to be done. I'm ready to see movies in the movie theater again, but
I am too, but maybe not Fast and the Furious.
Uh-oh.
So, Asia Argento, who I feel like we've talked about, we must have talked about at some point on this show, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Daughter of Dario Argento.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did. Randomly. I'm not sure why we did.
Okay.
Anyway, recently, has accused director Rob Cohen, who has directed a couple of the Fast and Furious movies, of sexual assault.
Okay. Awesome. And I shouldn't say awesome. That's terrible. And, that's wow. Do we know anything else? Like, did this happen over the course of multiple films, or
she was shooting XXX
uh-huh.
with Vin Diesel and him?
Yeah.
And he roofied her, just to wrap it up real fast.
Oh my God!
So, everybody, just raise your hand now. Everybody. Let's just get you out of here. Let's just move you on out of here.
How?
Let's just get it out.
I don't... Why do we have roofies? What is the point of roofies?
I don't... Nobody was like...
Like, is there any,
Should we... You're going to make me do a bit on roofies now?
I mean, is there any benefit to like...
No, I refuse to do
knock
the solicited bit on roofies.
Okay. I just don't understand why they exist. I mean, are they just knockout drugs that people then use for nefarious reasons?
Chloroform, it wasn't for putting on a rag.
Okay, fair.
And kidnapping somebody.
Right.
It was for doing operations and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Although the doctor would have fun and go, does this rag smell like chloroform? To the patient, and then they're out. Okay, let's get his liver.
Oh my God.
See, I can just shift all the roofie stuff onto the chloroform stuff.
Okay. All right.
Although audience in 1870 would be very offended.
Yes, I would.
It's terrible. This is not the first, I think, accusations that we have heard about Rob Cohen, and I don't think it's the first accusations that Asia herself, I'm going to get through it, folks, has made, being one of the women at the forefront of the post-Weinstein movement, because she,
wow.
I think, was assaulted by Weinstein herself. So
you are freaking kidding me. Oh my gosh.
Look, it's just a field of dicks in Hollywood coming after you, right? That's what it is.
Ish. That's... it's depressing. It's what it is.
And until people, Harvey Weinstein is, he's my walker in a jail cell. Mm-hmm. Actually, is he even in a jail cell? Was he sentenced? I don't know. The point is that we have to make people who do this pay the penalty that the law says.
Yes.
And maybe people will think twice before they do stuff like this.
it's just like they're in positions of power, and they think that because of that they can get away with crap like this.
Yeah.
But why would you even, if you rape somebody, it's not, but it's about power. It's not about the sex. It's hard for me to wrap my head around somebody actually
You're normal.
wanting to do this.
Why could a normal person understand what a not normal person would do?
I know.
Yeah.
It's really upsetting. So anyways.
Yeah. So we'll move on to...
I'm glad she came forward.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. She's rich. Sue is funny ass. That's what I say.
Yeah, seriously.
Criminal case or no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is not going to be great. It's going to go right into something else that's pretty bad.
Oh, boy.
So apparently online trolls have gone after Star Wars host Christina Ariel, who is a woman of color. She's
a Star Wars host?
Yes. She hosts the High Republic show. And,
is it a podcast or?
Well, she might be a podcaster, but she's hosting this show for Disney.
Okay.
And it's a web series where she interviews the people behind Star Wars shows. So she'll talk to Dave Filoni, talk to, people like that.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
And, people are just being little shits about it. Assholes.
What the hell? What is going on with freaking Star Wars fans? Why? I feel like there is something about the Star Wars fandom that is toxic. And I feel like
you gotta look into that.
I feel like it has not been dealt with, like, at all, like by Disney, it's really frustrating to see what Kelly Tran, right? And John Boyega being
Oscar Isaac. It's funny, I guess Guatemalan is white because nobody's picking on him.
I don't freaking know. But fans will go after
don't pick on him.
No.
Encouraging people to pick on him.
No, not at all.
He just played the guitar at you and you'd be like, oh, I can't stay mad.
But Disney didn't say, hey, we don't do that here or what have you.
Here's the upshot of this story, because the real problem is what has happened is it was a right-wing website dug through her tweets and did some concern trolling. And it wasn't like Bean Dad, who did say some dumb, stupid stuff in his old tweets.
Right.
It was just more like she was, complaining about the kind of things that black people would complain about when it comes to white people and white privilege.
Sure.
And I don't have any examples in the specific article that I'm working off of. But anyway, so that caused a stir, but then it started a hashtag, I stand with Alicia, excuse me. Oof.
You okay?
I stand with Christina Ariel.
Yeah.
And Disney themselves has come out and released a statement saying, would they back her and that whole thing.
Well, that's positive, at least. I feel like they didn't do that for some of their other people that work for them. And I feel like when, what's her name, who plays Cara Dune, is saying awful things online, they're not at least publicly saying anything like, hey, knock it off. Or maybe they're behind the scenes being all like, I don't know, but we don't... just the public, we have no idea how that's being handled behind scenes. I know that's a different thing, but
it's not. Here's what it comes down to. It isn't like, let's say bands, right? Mm-hmm. Maroon 5 is like a corporation.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they make terrible music, but they're bigger than themselves. They're bigger than... It's five? It's five guys who are a shade of red?
Yeah, I know.
It's five guys, right?
Yeah.
It's bigger than five guys.
Yeah.
But if you had a band that was let's say Sufjan Stevens, some of his fans went after an artist that he worked with because he had said on Twitter, hey bro, I don't want to work with you anymore. I don't know why this scenario would happen.
Right.
And then his fans were like, let's get him.
Sure.
I'll go to his house. Get the
right.
roofies.
Right.
And Sufjan had to come out and be like, stop this.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Right.
Just because I don't want to work with him doesn't mean that you have to attack him and hate him.
Right.
That's all good. But if Kathleen Kennedy has to come out and do that, she isn't just like repping a creative effort, or a collection of artists.
I know.
There are shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks weird and weak. And it's weird when even the people who are yelling at Kelly Marie or whoever it is are ostensibly Disney consumers or potential Disney consumers.
Yeah, right.
And when the boss of a company comes out and yells at customers and says, "Get out of here. I don't want you to buy the next DVD box set of Disney content that's going to come out."
Yeah.
You are responsible to shareholders.
Right.
This is the problem with capitalism, which we won't go off into a tangent about that. And so they can't do that. Yeah. So when Cara Dune acts like a dipshit, they can't do anything about that unless they literally see her. If they caught her at, storming the Capitol in D.C., you can fire her. Mm-hmm. But until then, there's nothing that you can do.
There's nothing they can do. She hasn't done anything.
I mean, there is. There absolutely is. They can just go, "We want to part ways with you. You are a toxic person." They could absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But not to their minds, and not something that they could justify to the shareholders. The Mandalorian's one of the most successful, shows on TV. Why did you take 1/3 of that show and get rid of him? And it's because she's a UFC fighter who can't act. You could put anybody in there. They could create a character twice as good as her, 3 times as good,
right,
and hire Eva Green to do it. Eva,
do it.
Eva,
do it.
Don't do it.
Don't take your shirt off.
I see that zipper coming down. But, they don't want to rock the boat because they have to justify that to people who pay the bills or give them money. That's why.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't like
I
it.
also stand with Christina without really knowing anything about. I haven't consumed any of her content, but I'm positive that she is good at what she does, and she'll keep doing it. Jeez, what else is going on? Yeah, I got a good story here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good story. Come on. Good story. Good story.
Roll those bones. Here it comes. The good story is that there's going to be a Wonka prequel. What is it with Warner Brothers?
No, I don't know.
Warner Brothers got to do those prequels.
I don't know.
Like Batman Begins. No, seriously, I'm surprised there hasn't been. They did like a Gotham show. Like, why not a Gotham movie or something like that?
I know.
But the Crimes of Grindelwald. Like, all these things are like, let's go. No, it's too scary to make something new. It's not like we own the other half of the IP on the planet. Let's.
I know.
Bugs Bunny Begins.
I just don't.
Space Jam 2, which. Forget this story. This story sucks. Space Jam 2 is poised to become the WB cinematic universe. Do you know about this?
No.
We've seen like 2 seconds of a trailer from Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yeah.
But in it, people have seen like, oh, Fred Flintstone's there, and like it looks like Batman might be there.
Huh.
And so
weird.
There, Swackhammer or whatever the Swackhammer equivalent is. Oh, we already figured out it was going to be like, isn't a rapper going to play the bad guy or something like that?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it is, but anyway. They're going to summon digital avatars of these characters. So, like, LeBron will be playing basketball against Batman because they're brainwashed.
Sure.
And that will open the door to a united cinematic universe where all the WB-owned characters can interact. So it's like the Animaniacs are going to hang out with Harry Potter, going to hang out with whatever.
Okay.
They're going to pull a
Wonder
Disney.
Woman. Yeah, sure.
A Wreck-It Ralph 2, where you go to the internet and, like, everybody's...
Yeah, all the princesses are there and everybody else. Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense.
No,
but.
I mean that's fine. That's cool. You could. There's a lot of potential you could do with that. I
think Disney proved that because they had that idea first.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Well,
that's the WB's thing.
Yeah. Right. I know. Okay.
Look, if you don't have any comments, we can move right on from there.
I don't know. Interesting to see if they'll be able to pull it off, I guess is what I'm going to say. And I mean, it has a lot of potential and it sounds like it could be interesting. So yeah, we'll see.
Did you hear about, Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas breaking up?
I don't even know who that second person is, so I gotta be honest. Ana de Armas. I don't know who that is.
Ana de Armas?
Yeah.
She is...
I feel like I'm saying that a lot this episode. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
She just have like a digital screen behind you where you can just be like, you mean
Co-host
this person?
Of this podcast about pop culture.
I know.
She is a Spanish, right? Yes.
Okay.
I think she might be Cuban Spanish.
Okay. All right.
She's a Cuban Spanish actress who is, if there's a French version of Ava Green.
Oh. Okay. All right.
She's it. She was Blade Runner. She was the hologram girl.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
She was in a Bond movie. She's in this Bond movie that we haven't seen yet.
Oh, okay, sure.
She's just been in stuff.
Okay, I believe you.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
I guess I don't know what she's been in.
Okay.
Anyway, she was dating Ben Affleck. Because of course.
I didn't know that.
But they're broken up. You know how we know?
How do we know?
Because photographers spotted somebody throwing away a life-size cardboard cutout of her outside of Ben Affleck's house.
Oh!
And all signs point to it being Casey Affleck. Although he didn't try to choke and then sleep with it before he threw it away.
Weird.
Oh, it's a weird world.
What? Were paparazzi just like parked outside of his house?
That is the life of one of these people.
I just freaking hate this.
That's why we have all those great pictures of Ben Affleck just like smoking a cigarette like it's got the antidote to his poison life in it.
Oh my god.
Like, ugh.
Wow.
Out on the balcony.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, let's scrap. These are all bad stories.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably in her late 20s. She might be early 30s.
She's young. She's got to be young.
He's got to be pushing 50, right?
Yeah, I would think so, yes.
So these girls grow up watching
it's
Good Will Hunting, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't understand the Ben Affleck appeal. I'm going to just be real honest. I know he's ripped, but whatever. I don't think he's that.
I don't think he's ripped.
Well, when he was playing Batman, he was like pulling tires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
watch carefully when we watch the 4-hour Snyder Cut, which is not a miniseries. It's a movie.
I thought it was like separate.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody will show anything for 4 hours, right? So,
oh my God.
We'll see with the reshoots how they hide his pregnancy. Do you know what I mean? Because I doubt that he got back into Batman shape just for some reshoots for this dumb Zack Snyder cut.
Probably not.
Yes, it's gross.
CGI-S.
It's gross and you don't get it. Here's what I don't understand. Do celebrities give each other cardboard cutouts of themselves?
Why would you do that? If I'm not here, put this in the bed with you? What would you do? What? Why not? Like, I mean, this is weird.
And then why
too.
have
like
your brother
a body
go throw it
pillow
away?
Or something? Yeah, I know.
Because, all right, you're right. You don't want it in the house. I get it. But you know that there's scads of people out there
just
waiting to catch you smoking.
Break it up or something.
Tear it up into little pieces.
And put it in a garbage bag.
Have the staff tear it up into little pieces and put it in an opaque garbage bag.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's like they don't think about the fact that people are watching them.
I don't know. You can't account for it all the time.
No, I know.
But you also can't put I don't know how tall she is, but she's laying down. You can't put a 5.5 foot cardboard thing under your arm and walk to the dumpster behind your house and not expect somebody to see you doing this.
I know, and it's clearly her. So
yes,
it's weird. It's weird. Like, I think if you had like a cardboard cutout version of me and you brought it outside and put it by the dumpster,
if only.
People would know what was up, you know?
Or just take it out to the garage and, throw a coat of paint on it, spray paint it or something like that. Opaque.
Disguise
and then let people just guess what it is.
Yeah, sure. It's a silhouette of somebody.
I don't know. Well, speaking of Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Which we basically are. They're one and the same person.
Well, if I had to choose, Matt Damon would be my pick instead of Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Matt Damon. Matt Damon has arrived in Australia
if I had to
film a major movie.
Is this a story?
Yes.
What is the major movie?
The movie that's filming in Australia is Thor: Love and Thunder. Will Matt Damon be in Thor: Love and Thunder?
Well, he hasn't been in a Marvel movie yet,
he was in Thor: Ragnarok.
Was he?
Yes.
Remind me who he was in Thor: Ragnarok.
He was an actor playing
That's
Loki
right!
in the Loki show.
Yes. Will he show up in the Loki TV show and then be in the Loki the
That's
Thor
not shooting
Love
in
and
Australia,
Thunder?
I don't think. But
Oh, okay. I got a little excited there.
What I want to know, and what has been speculated on, is assuming that aren't like 99% of Asgardians dead because like their planet blew up and then Thanos blew up. Well, I guess he killed half of them. Half of what was left.
He must have been on the ship.
We don't know what X is, but
yeah, right.
Divide X by 2 and you got Y.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are on Earth in a seaside town.
Right.
Assuming he's among them, is he an Asgardian who is an actor who was hired by Loki to play Loki? Or is he just Matt Damon?
Did Loki just
is there a deleted scene in Thor Ragnarok where he's like, all right, I did what you said. Please, my kids. Let me see my kids again, please. I gotta see how those Pats are doing. Come on.
That would be funny.
Yeah, we don't know. I don't know how you would bring him back, but
I mean, either way
possible.
Would be entertaining. Like,
and if that would open up the door for Sam Neill being real too, because he played Odin in that, Odin in that play, didn't he?
Right, yeah. So. Next headline: Sam Neill arrives in Australia.
He doesn't have to arrive.
Oh yeah, I suppose right.
Sam Neill throwing Matt Damon standee away in his dumpster. Well, there's one more thing I wanted to mention before we move on. Actually, two more things. First of all, Russia is getting weird.
Okay.
Weirder than usual.
I don't even know how to react to that because
there's this whole thing with, it being a totalitarian regime.
Yeah.
A different one.
Yay!
You had you had one before that. Yeah, I just like the totalitarian regimes, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, they do.
There are many, many protests right now against the Navalny trial. They're putting this journalist that they tried to kill on trial, and so many protesters are coming out.
I don't know a whole lot about this. I'm going to be honest.
I fear for those protesters' safety, but I support their efforts.
Right.
But apparently, the Kremlin has decided to ban Death Note, Tokyo Ghoul, and Inuyashiki animes because of concerns that teenagers will mimic the on-screen violence in them. They're straight up doing a PTA council, Jack Thompson, not Jack Johnson. You don't play no video games.
This is bizarre to me. I'm not like...
That's funnier than you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's great. Seems to me that maybe video games make you kill people.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Why now? That sounds like
I don't understand.
Using American history as an example, it's a big dodge, right? Because the real problem is how many effing guns there are in our country, right?
Yeah.
Not that a kid with behavioral issues
is into video games.
Oh, a kid likes video games. A kid killed people because of his behavioral issues. I can make these circles touch each other somehow, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's focus on one thing instead of the other. Virginia Tech was the fault of Doom and not a kid who had serious problems.
Right.
And had access to a ton of guns.
Right. Exactly.
And so are they just stealing that? They're like, it works for Americans. Let's do it here.
Yeah. And like, how do we change the...
Not a good Russian accent.
I was like, yeah, great. Good. But it just sounds like, it sounds like a way for them to kind of change the narrative and try to shift focus and everything. But it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm not, so I'm familiar with Death Note. I'm not super familiar with the other ones, but Death Note is like...
Inuyashiki sounds like Inuyasha, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have an anime show.
I know, but I'm like, I feel like a lot of my anime, this is like a big... thing here. I feel like a lot of my anime knowledge is like stuck in like the 90s, early 2000s, and so like
it absolutely is.
So like a lot of stuff past that, like I know it exists and I know it's probably good, but I just don't know about it. Is that, I don't know, is that the sequel to Inuyasha? I know there's like an Inuyasha sequel. I don't know. that like focuses on like his kids.
No, that's Binuyasha.
Oh, are you being serious?
Wasn't there's Naruto and Boruto, right? And that's Naruto the Next Generation.
I don't know. Probably. We're really showing my
might not be very good at this.
lack of knowledge here. What I was going to say is, yeah, okay, in Death Note, it's about this kid who kills people, but he kills people using a magic notebook. Like, he writes their names in a notebook and then they die. How is that the same thing as, like, something that could happen in real life that kids could mimic?
So, something could happen in real life. A totalitarian regime is afraid of journalists who write things down that will destroy the government.
Okay. I see your point.
Ta-da!
All right, yeah.
I thank you.
Yeah.
Baby really hurt me, crying in the taxi.
Oh, God, don't say it like that.
Who is it for? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's for adults who were teens.
Well, we all were teens.
I know.
But
I don't know.
You know.
I mean, I'm sure, like, if...
I only had like 5 dicks on my phone when I was a kid. There's like 50 dicks on this guy's phone.
I know.
I'm just not sure who it's for. I will say that I really enjoy it.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Although as I get farther and farther away from high school, that time of my life, it just becomes just less and less relatable to me. And often in a show, shows don't work. If all the characters make all the right decisions all the time, there's no show.
Oh, no, it's boring.
So you have to like have reasons for the characters to make bad decisions.
Yes.
And I guess it's kind of easy when they're kids because it's like, they're kids.
They're going to make...
I'm not saying kids are dumb.
No,
I'm just saying
but
kids
they're...
have no context and no life experience.
Yeah.
And they're just, and I don't think this is bad. I think kids probably read too many novels in the 19th century. But they get all their information from not real life experience.
From like TVs and TV shows and stuff like that.
What did the Fairly Odd Parents do in this situation? They just don't know what to do. So you can't even really call it stupid. They just don't know what they're doing.
No,
so that creates drama and, great.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what if the kids had like intense behavioral issues and abuse and drug use?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh boy.
I know. What if they had like serious
If you promised me that if I showed my 16-year-old this show, they would graduate from Harvard in 6 years. Then yeah, bring it on.
Yeah,
get that
right.
HBO Max subscription. But that's the situation that our characters find ourselves in with this show that honestly I think was a lot more successful than anybody expected.
I don't remember. Okay,
making this show.
Yeah.
You're Sam Levinson. First of all, it's created by this show about gay teenagers and their relationship problems is made by Barry Levinson's kid, the Men in Black guy's kid.
It's weird.
He's a straight white man.
Yeah.
But somehow, and again, as a straight white man, I don't know, maybe that's why I like the show. But all the LGBTQ groups, all the women's groups, everybody who watches this show and goes, it's great.
Yeah.
They have all signed off on it. So clearly, yes, he writes it, but he writes it with input, I'm assuming from people, who have those perspectives and is doing it right, even though, great, another already rich. It'd be like if Max Landis created this show, would you feel the same way?
Yeesh.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're equivalent.
No.
Similar thing.
Yeah, right.
So the fact that he can make a show like this and it's so successful, I think, is really great. And then as you're making the show, you're spending all this money on Lord samples or whatever, and you're putting all this time and money into production and the lighting and all the hazy visuals of the show.
Right.
You must know this is going to be huge, right? This is going to be huge. And I feel like they were caught completely off guard by how huge this has become. They weren't even sure there was going to be a second season. Like, they had to, get the green light on that. And that was before COVID. They were HBO's like, okay, I guess we'll do another one. And then, of course, now we can't have another one because everybody's been locked down for a year.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, I just think it's incredible that that they were caught off guard by how successful this show is.
Maybe they didn't, like, they underestimated just how high quality everything is in this show. Like, not just the overall direction from Sam Levinson, but the writing, the acting. I mean, I think Zendaya, and maybe this is part of it too. You hear that Zendaya is the lead, and you're like, oh, okay, the girl who's in the Spider-Man films, and
and
Disney. Other stuff and everything too. But maybe I think people underestimated her as the lead, because she is fantastic, and she is a really great actor, and you really feel what she's expressing, and I think she's a very interesting character as well, and I think they really underestimated that. But I think that the rest of the cast is really cast well too. And it's a strong cast, and you don't always get that with like these really young casts, Yeah. And maybe people are like, okay, it's another teen high school show, we'll see how this goes. But there is something kind of different about this, and I think part of it is like what you were talking about, that all of the characters are flawed.
Yeah.
And at least with like the first season, they the way that they did it is they focused largely on one character per episode, even though I would definitely say that Rue is the protagonist and she's the main character, and it's still largely focused on her. But you got like more of a background on like various characters who in other series would just be completely side characters,
Yeah. And I think that there's, it's HBO. So not to
that too.
Put your precious Sabrina on the spot, but sometimes you're like,
okay,
good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, all right.
We need a black friend. Good enough.
Oh boy.
And HBO's not going to do that. Mm-hmm. They've got essentially they're playing with movie money on a TV.
Yeah, for sure.
In a TV casino. Mm-hmm. And so you can say, no, we want the people who are the best for this. They're going to, land the part. They're going to be, notice how, and Maude Apatow too. What I didn't realize though is I haven't really, we've talked about this on the show before. I haven't really dug too far into the show, but Hunter Schafer, the person that plays Jules, has a writing credit on the show. So when I talked before about the perspective that he's getting, like he's literally getting the perspective of somebody who is, and she's in her early 20s probably, but has lived some of this life.
Yeah.
And so
that's cool.
So yeah, you can, part of it is nobody's been murdered, right? But like part of it has that kind of like, every teen show has to have a murder mystery type thing, 50 Reasons Why or whatever, Riverdale. So they've got that element there, and then you've got characters doing that, but then you've also got, the sort of like focus on the mental health issues and the LGBTQ issues.
Yes.
And I never thought of Jules as a co-lead before, mostly because I feel like the series follows like Zendaya's point of view. It
really does.
She's kind of the main character.
She is the main character.
But I suppose maybe under my nose, Jules has become more of a main character.
I think that is true.
Which is why, and knowing now that I do, that she is, she's vital to the construction of the series. I think that's why the most recent special has been about her. Mm-hmm. There was the Christmas special about Rue.
The Christmas special.
Zendaya's character. Yeah. And then the most recent one that we just saw, we're going to talk about, is about Jules' character.
Yeah. The New Year's episode, yeah. So similar to the Rue episode, they largely due to COVID, they decided to have the bulk of the episode is just Jules talking to one other person, and it happens to be her new therapist, and it's her brand new therapist because we learn it's the first session.
Yeah.
One of my gripes with that is I think it would have, and this is maybe really silly of me, but as somebody, I just this would not be the things that they're talking about would not be something you would really get into necessarily on the first session. And the first session would be a lot of, intake questions like, tell me about your childhood and and she even says, I don't want to get into my childhood. And it's like, but that's what you would be doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it would be more believable if it was like, say their second or third session, but that's like a really small thing to like gripe about. I do think that the way that they portrayed therapy was overall fairly positive, and like I like that the therapist kind of let her talk but also like steered her to focus on other things, like let's look at that, and like brought things to her attention and made connections that maybe she didn't make before. So.
Yeah, it's true. And having it sort of, I don't know, maybe it's just been that like, Zendaya and her character being the kind of POV character, having her out of the way and then being able to focus on Jules, it has allowed Jules' character to come out a little more. Because we know that Jules is involved in the kind of blackmail plot. And we know that like Jules is, she's like the opposite of like a drama queen, but with all the negative that would entail. Because she's just kind of doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And it isn't until really this special that she really talks about, here's why I seem to be completely oblivious to like how Rue was doing in her struggle, with drugs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the whole time, but I didn't want to do anything about it because, and then we introduce, and I think some of this is kind of retconning and backfilling
a little bit, I
but
think.
It's fine. That's
okay.
all part of the construction of their narrative.
Yeah.
Because of her own mother's struggle with substance abuse, which we never really saw before.
No.
And so
we knew mom wasn't around.
Yeah.
But...
And so her thing has been just to, I don't want to upset the apple cart, and I don't want to make that association of my feelings about my mother, to Rue. And so, now you can, that's why you were being completely inattentive to this girl that you loved, like just completely flushing herself down the drain.
Right.
And having seen that, and then also not having, Rue be at the center of it, my improvement or my opinion of both the actress and the character have increased a lot. I think this was a really great special, not only for my enjoyment of the show, but also as an addition to the show's narrative, because I feel like I get Jules so much more now than I did before when we were just kind of in Rue's head and seeing her as this object of affection.
Right. And like Rue's like infatuated with her, not like necessarily in a bad way, but
that's the dirty secret about all these things, is because it doesn't matter what kind of breakthroughs you have, it doesn't matter how much growth you get or whatever. You're 16, you are not going to be with this person in the future.
Probably
Do you know
not.
what I mean?
I know.
Even if you guys moved to New York together, you would definitely both meet other girls and then break up.
Well, and then Jules was even.
Sorry, I'm not saying that there is no true love. I'm just saying.
And there are people who meet each other in high school and stay with each other.
Yeah.
But like Jules even talks about how, and we see this in season 1, how Rue, like how well she's doing with her recovery and abstaining from using. She bases that on like their relationship, and that was like it was like too much pressure for Jules, but maybe because they're young, or maybe because they're both dealing with their own complicated things, but like Jules and Rue are not like necessarily they're not really great about talking about really complicated stuff like this.
No, they both use each
other
other for escape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they clearly care about each other, but like Jules can't be like, hey, look, you need to stay clean for you. You can't like base it all off of me. It's too much.
Yeah, and that's something that's interesting is because even in the special, like Rue just talks to her sponsor.
Yes.
But she's not talking to anybody professionally. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I mean, that would probably be really good for her.
It probably
would. And I know
would
it's
be
antithetical to her kind of go it alone personality, but this is like the first real look inside of a therapeutic environment that we see for these characters, and it's Jules. And you get the idea that
her dad made her go.
Her dad made her go, but also that this is not Jules' first therapist. This is not her first entry into an environment like that. That I think that she probably chose, her dad might have encouraged her, but I feel like she's been to therapy willingly before. Whereas if Rue has ever been in a therapeutic situation, it's been mandated either by a court
I think
or
that's
by,
true.
you know, continuing to live in her mother's house.
Well, and I think too that maybe for Rue, it's a big step for her to ask anybody for help, for support, because she's just so much I'll do it myself sort of thing. And so I think, I agree that I think that if she saw a therapist, that would probably be a good thing. But I think her reaching out to her sponsor is huge for her, and could be. I think it was a therapeutic experience for her.
Yeah. But I mean,
but he's not a therapist.
No.
He knows a little bit of what she's been through because he's gone through it himself. But you know, I mean, he's not perfect, and like, you know, her situation is different from his.
Yeah.
But so yeah. But I think that the two specials, I think in a lot of ways, complement each other really well. Probably largely because of the format.
You can only have a 2-person cast.
Yeah, right.
Because they're shooting in COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
But in both you know, conversations, you know, they get into some really deep stuff. So
Yeah. Way to trivialize. It was pretty deep.
am I
Sure
trivializing
was.
it?
I don't know. It's like, it's just your obsessive need to sort of put a bow on everything. It's okay if the conversation runs down.
I'm
Plus,
sorry.
who are you talking to? It's never going to run down.
I know.
It's never derailing.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
That said, I agree with you.
Okay.
Do you think so? The fact that Rue appears in Jules's special at the end,
Yeah.
and they're not reconciled because we needed a season 2.
Right.
But do you feel like that's kind of like coming back together and speaking of which, putting a bow on it? And like, I haven't heard of any new ones, but we're not gonna. Hey, well, let's see what's going on with Mon Apatow.
No,
we're
no.
not going to get like a Cassie special where she's talking to her skating coach or something
I
like that.
don't think so. I think from what I don't know. When I first heard about these, I think that they were just planned to be 2.
Yeah.
That's
what it feels
like if they were to, what would it even be? You know, like would we focus on like the other characters, like you were saying?
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
They've kind of done that with, like I said, I think they've promoted Jules to like co-lead, and which I think is the right move. It's incredible that she's never acted before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, she might have been in like high school plays or something like that, but this is her first like big thing. And sure, you know, write what you know or play what you know. I mean, this might be similar to some of her experiences growing up, but it's just get her out of there more often.
Yeah, I know.
Take her away from Rue so they can do just, you know, instead of just mooning into each other's eyes, you know, they can do some acting.
Can I ask you something? Like, I kind of was thinking this. I think it's like this, but it's like a different spin, and it's more fully realized, and it's richer and more complicated than this. But do you kind of feel like Jules is kind of like the manic pixie dream girl?
She was up until this special, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
now we've gone deeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that we, you know, we've already said it. Like, she's not just the girl with angel wings on, and Rue's gonna be like, oh boy, I really like her. Even though I'm like not really out like all the way myself. I'm still kind of figuring that out. But
well, and then we find out in this special that Jules has never been with a girl before, which I was kind of surprised by. But
I'm not sure she's being totally honest with her therapist, because we've seen her with a girl.
Well, but she cheated on Rue with a girl.
Yeah.
But like, had she been with a girl before Rue?
We saw her with that girl. What do you mean? Like in a relationship with? Or just...
No, I mean, before Rue, she's saying she's never been with a girl in a relationship. I didn't get the feeling
that like she was just, you know, go for girls after that. Like she seemed very familiar with...
That's kind of why I
the
thought
girl that we saw her with. And then she was also, they were staying at another girl's place, or, I don't know what
another person's
how she
place.
presents, but
right.
And they had been together before. She was an ex, right?
No, they were just friends.
Okay, well, they were all real close. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the friend who she was staying at, they were just friends. But the friend, I don't remember the friend's name. This is really confusing. The friend has a girlfriend. And then the girl who was like doing her hair and makeup, who she ends up hooking up with, is just another friend who was over there.
A lot of friends.
A lot of friends.
Everybody's friendly.
We're friendly with each other. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying, like, okay, clearly these two are kind of the focus, but will we get a cat special? You know, what's going on with McKay? And we're going to get a McKay special.
Yeah.
We spent all this time following Tyler around and
Tyler.
Maddie.
I know.
Like, do they get specials?
Are
they not special enough for specials?
I don't know. I mean, like you said it yourself, like Jules is kind of like the co-lead right now. So I don't know if the others weren't specials or not.
I didn't know that the Timmons twins were McKay's brothers.
Yes!
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that?
No, they were always just hanging around. But I didn't understand that they were...
He chastised them and was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And like, it was...
Yeah, everybody's terrible. They're all terrible. They're just bad people.
He made it clear they were siblings, I thought, early on.
I lost that somewhere.
Yeah, no, they're totally his brothers. And yeah.
Well, anyway.
Anyways.
Well, we'll definitely have to see.
Yeah.
If you want to make a second season... There's a lot to go off of, guys.
They are making a second season.
No, they are.
Right?
But I guess when I think about it, like, nobody's watching this show. Or at least I guess I don't know how you know if anybody's watching this show. But their viewer counts are like in the sub-millions. Like, we are among maybe 200,000 people tops who have seen...
You are freaking kidding me. Why?
No, I don't know. But like I said, I don't know HBO Max. Like we know people have HBO Max. I don't think they're reporting those numbers. But
I tell people about this show.
Nielsen-wise, nobody's watching this show. Oh. So whoever's got like a cable box and a Nielsen box attached to that cable box, they're not watching this show. But then again, every person I know under the age of 25 is watching this show.
Yeah.
So
right.
So yeah, can't wait for that second season. Hopefully it'll come sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Wear your masks so I can see season 2
yes,
of Euphoria.
Dang it. Wear your masks so Euphoria season 2 can happen.
Yeah. Let's talk about somehow transitioning to Babylon 5.
How do you make that transition?
We're flipping on the dial, like I said.
Yeah, we're really flipping on the dial.
Babylon 5 is a syndicated science fiction show created and mostly written, pretty much all written, by
I was reading about
J.
that.
Michael Straczynski, a guy who does a lot of stuff. He's a writer, he's a director, and of course a producer, and a comic book writer. And he has done quite a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily think of him having done.
Oh, okay.
How about some examples?
Like some examples, yes.
Well, you want to talk about white guys doing LGBTQ shows? What about Sense8?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He was the writer behind, Sense8, along with the Wachowskis.
Okay,
and
right.
I didn't know this at the time, but it makes total sense now. David Mitchell, the other confusing author I like. All the authors I like are confusing, right? Nabokov, Vonnegut,
yeah,
Cameron Hurley,
sure,
William Gibson. What's going on in any of these books? I can't tell. I won't read a book unless it's confusing.
Oh, okay,
and then of course David Mitchell's a big part of that too.
There's so many characters.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, so you got Babylon 5, and the story is, he pitched it to Paramount. They said no.
Yep.
And then, weird. Paramount's got a show about a space station trapped between several different warring factions, and how are we going to make it all come together?
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to relitigate that.
Okay.
And yeah, basically it's set on a space station called Babylon 5, and it is in the aftermath of a war between the humans. This is like the 23rd century, I think. It's set in our world in the 23rd century. Humans versus a race called the Minbari.
Yes.
And they are one of the races that is represented on this. Babylon 5 is a hub for trade and commerce, but also it's a diplomatic hub where different races send their ambassadors and their representatives to talk about space issues. So you got the humans, the Minbari, you have the Centauri, from Alpha Centauri, you have the Narn, and then you have the other guys who are plastic people in plastic
God,
outfits.
it starts with like a V. Like nobody has seen them before.
Nobody's seen them before.
Like they're
and it's really hard to look up what they
like-
are because they don't credit the actor. Vorlons.
There we go.
Yes.
They're like light beams in
We don't
plastic
really know what they
suits.
are.
Yeah.
We don't really know what
or
they are.
something. Yeah.
And so I guess I should
Mysterious.
start with the movie, even though we didn't. But as the movie opens, it's really the movie's called The Gathering, and it was like a pilot movie.
Yeah.
So it was like 92, I think, or 93. They had this movie. They put this movie together to sell it, and this is a Warner Brothers series essentially. That's why Garibaldi likes Duck Dodgers cartoons so much. It's safe to use Warner Brothers stuff.
Okay.
But in the initial story in the movie, we meet the crew of the station. They are sort of assembling these diplomatic arms. Some of them are still there.
Yes.
Some of them are arriving. Somebody, we don't know who, tries to assassinate the Vorlon ambassador.
Yep.
Who basically just spends the entire movie in
the med bay.
In the sick bay.
Yeah, sick bay.
And it's up to the captain of the station, or the commander, Sinclair, to track down what's going on.
Yes.
And so that's kind of what it is. And it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. It is pretty straightforward.
What do you think about it? There's sort of like some suspicion on some of the other ambassadors and the side characters.
Yes.
But nope, it was the lizard face, evil looking guys.
So this is one thing that I was thinking of, watching this, and when I knew we were going to talk about it. I really would like to watch a sci-fi series, ongoing series, where the lizard aliens are not the tell-all bad guys. I'm looking at you, Star Trek 2, the Cardassians. They're considered, somewhat lizardy, and
guess.
It happens a lot. And it's like, is it the suspicious, evil-looking lizard guys over there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what I like about it. Or about the Narn. Is that, they're like fanged lizard-faced guys.
Yes.
But first of all, the main Narn, Jakar, is played by Andreas Katsoulis, great character actor.
He's great.
Played, he's been in a ton of stuff, and a lot of times under prosthetics, so you don't necessarily recognize him. But he was the most recurring Romulan on TNG. He was Tomahawk.
Okay.
And he was also the one-armed man in The Fugitive. Remember the Fugitive movie?
God, it's been so long since I've seen that.
But he's played a good villain in a lot of things.
Sure.
And so he's playing that guy. And I also like the fact that, they're scary lizard guys, but they're kind of foppish. You know what I mean? You think they'd be like, "Grah, give me that rat, I'm gonna drink its blood and do this." But he's sort of like, "Oh, well." He just...
that's true.
It's almost like this
That's
is set, in... the 18th century or something like that, in a castle in France, where diplomats are meeting.
Right.
And he's like got a hanky and he's sort of
that
like...
he pats his mouth with.
and he's like a simpering sort of villain, It isn't like... He's not like a Gowron or something like that.
No,
or a Ducat.
no,
he's
right.
just sort of like, oh, we would never do that. It's like,
right.
He was totally doing that. I like that about it.
No, that's a good point. And their outfits are really flashy too. Like they're very decorative.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. It's not just like purely militaristic, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they say in dialogue that the Narns are not, I think it's the Minbari that are like, let's say, but we don't have to do analogs for all of them, but the Minbari are kind of like the Vulcans, I guess, right?
Kind of, yeah.
But the Narn are like, one of the reasons that they're so aggressive is that they want stuff. Like they're not as technologically developed as the Minbari, and maybe not as the humans. And so his armor is like, it looks kind of like space age knight armor. Like it looks welded together, and it's got all these little bits and bobs on it. And I like the idea that like it's not just about territory. In Star Trek, everybody's got phasers or disruptors and warp drives or whatever. But you're all these different races who have both economic and like military concerns that they're trying to, the Centauri were great once, I guess, but their
Right.
empire is in decline. And so you've
Yeah.
got a guy like Londo who is just in his waistcoat and like just drunk all the time
I
because
know.
he's like super depressed, and they're trying to get their shit together.
I know. I do like the Centauri are just like, oh my God, they're like ridiculous, but they like own it,
And what's cool is that we saw, I guess we can talk about them both. We also
Yeah.
saw Midnight on the Firing Line, the first episode of
Yes.
the series. And Londo is like in two different places in both of those things. I guess a year has gone by from the movie to the beginning of the season.
I think there was about a year in real time between the two. Yeah.
And so TV was just weird back then.
Well, I think they were shopping it
You
around,
would not
right?
even move unless Netflix had given you a 13-episode deal. And then you would start making your show. You'd know exactly how many episodes there would be. You don't know if you're going to get picked up, but you try to set it up so it would be. And this is literally they just made a movie.
Yep.
And then
Shopped it around.
And I guess, I'm not sure if they were selling it to networks or to studios, but
Right.
Warner Brothers is like, cool, got it, good. We're going to syndicate it. And then you have to start a series.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen the movie? I don't know. Is somebody going to air it? I hope TNT or somebody's going to. Is it part of the syndication package? You don't know.
No.
So I'm sure there's plenty of Babylon 5 fans who got into, second, third
series.
season. And
Yeah.
they're still like, I got to go to a trade show and buy a VHS of this movie.
Good
So you have
point,
to make it in a way that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And
right.
they do that
And they
as the
do
first
that.
episode of Babylon 5 picks up, where we've gotten rid of Tamila Tamika or whatever, the lady that played the first whatever you call it, dispatcher or whatever her
Lieutenant
job's
commander
name
or
is.
whatever. Yeah.
And we get Claudia Christian instead.
Yeah.
Good move in my opinion.
Yeah.
Good move in my opinion.
I mean, look, I was happy to see an Asian actress in the film, but like she just was not a very strong actress, and the actress they brought in to replace her, a strong choice. So yeah.
So you got that situation, and you have to just kind of keep on moving.
Yeah.
But like even at that point, like Londo is kind of manipulated by Jakar and the circumstances of like, because what happens is the commander gets framed for trying to kill the ambassador, the Vorlon ambassador. So now Sinclair is like being recalled by the Earth body.
Vorlons.
It's not the UN. It's not the UN.
Right.
That's been dissolved. We'll talk about the politics of this show in a little bit.
Okay.
But so he's got to be thrown off the station, and it came down to a vote in the council.
Yes.
And like Jakar convinced Londo to vote, thinking, and Londo thought it's not going to matter because the Minbari are going to abstain, and there won't be enough votes to like clear it. But then it turns out that there are, and so he seems like a weak character. But then when the series picks up, he's like, "Hey, Garibaldi, what's going on?" Hey.
Yeah, right.
And then later on, he finds out that like the ambassador has screwed him over, and he's like, "I'm going to go shoot that mother."
I know.
So he's a much more like active kind of character.
Yes, that's true.
But he's not. He could have been just. Yeah, he's the kind of Quark or whatever, but he could have been just like I'm a goofball, but I like that he's got levels. And then we find out later on in that episode that he's like, this colony has been attacked, and you don't know this, but my nephew lives there.
Yeah.
And so this is actually a lot more important to me than you would think that it is.
Yeah, it's not just diplomatic. It's not just policy. This is my family.
I'm so going to be a fan of the show, aren't I? I can feel myself already being sucked in by this stupid show.
I have to say, I just have to say it. The Centauri hair, this is so dumb, but it's a choice. It's a very strong choice.
How many bald foreheads are there in this show?
I know,
it's
lot.
like their first reaction is an alien. Well, they're not going to have any hair on the top of their head. We know this.
Yeah, I know.
Be they lizard or seashell head.
I know.
Or guy with a fan coming out the back of his head.
But it's like, especially
a lot of bald caps.
I know, especially. I want to call him Lando, but it's Londo, even though it's spelled the same way.
Yeah.
I find it kind of distracting. I think if I were to continue watching the show, I would get used to it and it wouldn't be a thing. It's weird to me to think about because I'm so used to Trek that somebody comes on with whatever prosthetic on their face and I'm totally cool with it. And somebody's got weird hair and I'm suddenly like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing for me to experience. But, I think he was a really interesting character too. And they made a lot of, like you said, a lot of really strong choices with him in the second episode. I liked how his gun was in lots of different things in his is that just to hide it, just so I don't have any weapons here, or is it to make sure I really want to use this is a deliberate
I don't
thing.
think that anybody's allowed to have
weapons. Okay.
And so if he wants to off somebody, he's going to have to
have it
put it together.
Yeah, right.
And he's going to have to get through Garibaldi.
Yes. Get through Garibaldi.
Who is it's almost like I don't know. I don't
what say it.
He's almost like the goofy character on the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, he's definitely the comic relief character. I don't. Here's the difference. Here's the thing. Why? Here's why Trek is more successful than this was.
Okay.
Is because this is clearly. I know that Straczynski is a writer who is very creative. He's thought it all out.
Yeah.
I've seen 3.5 hours of this world, and I can already tell there are many, many stories to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
There's already I can tell this is there's deep foundations to this universe. Mm-hmm. But what's it about? Do you know what I mean? Trek is aspirational.
Yes.
We want to see ourselves in Trek. Trek is about how humanity is going to make it, not just same shit, different century. And I can kind of get excited about the men and women of the Space Force or whatever they are, but I don't really care about that. I like characters that want to fly through the universe with their technology and make everybody's lives better, like with a magic wand.
Right.
And
make everybody's lives better.
And you can say that that's silly and sappy and sentimental, but that's, I enjoy that. Mm-hmm. I like this a lot, but it doesn't, what's it really about and what's the point? Because at the end of the day, if it's all going to be summed up by a white guy with a completely stoned face who's like, well, that's what happens in the end.
Oh my God.
You try to cross the humans and we'll put a microscopic nanites in you. I didn't really do it, but let's go watch cartoons.
I know.
It's like, what is it really about at the end of the day?
I know. Exactly. And it's like, do we want to... Okay, so he didn't really do the unethical thing, but do we want to root for this guy who's in charge of this military and on the station?
Well, that's my thing. They're not...
Who does things that's questionably ethical?
No.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I understand exactly what you're saying. I think, too, so the Narn, the Centauri, and the Centauri, let's have their costumes. He looks like he's like Napoleon Bonaparte or something like that. It's very what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Maybe not that. But the jackets are very militaristic. Maybe I'm not picking the right. Not Napoleon. I don't know what I'm trying to pull. But they look familiar. They look like something we've seen on Earth. And
because they were made on Earth.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that they don't look like completely unfamiliar like the Narns do. The Membari as well. I just all these alien races are there, and the characters are fully realized and developed, and you can tell that there's a lot there. And I feel like the same care was not necessarily transferred over to the human characters. Not completely, anyways. I feel like sometimes, maybe this is mostly
Claudia Christian is having a drink at the bar, and she's just got an ensemble and a necklace on, and it's like, it just seems like if I was at a con in 1993 and I walked into the bar and Claudia Christian was there, she might be wearing the exact same thing.
Well, maybe, but
is that what you mean?
I'm not just talking about the costumes. I'm talking about the character development. And
I don't know. They
like
put a whole
too.
thing in with they put a whole thing in with like an election subplot where all of this is happening also on
Yes.
the day that I guess a presidential election is going. So they're
Yeah,
telling
that's
you
true.
that American or world possibly
Earth, yeah.
democracy is still going on.
True.
But I don't feel like we ever get how the characters feel about it. They all talk about like, oh yeah, I gotta make sure to run down to the polls and vote in the middle of this gigantic crisis that we're having. And then at the end of the thing, like, the commander is like watching TV and they're like, well, the incumbent so-and-so won. And he's just kind of like, oh, off to bed.
Well, I know that
For me.
Claudia Christensen mentioned earlier that she wanted the other lady to win because she just didn't like the other guy.
Yeah, that's a really deep political opinion.
I know. So I don't know. I guess one of the things that's like hard for me is like with Trek, a lot of times it doesn't have to be like Trek. It doesn't. But like a lot of times the captain, the commander.
Trek has a brand.
Right.
And it has a formula.
It does.
Some would say that the reason that the Trek is, boring is because it is that same formula.
It is that same formula. But I guess I am used to a charismatic leader that you want to rally behind. And I don't really feel that way about Sinclair.
No?
No, I think like you were saying, like he just like no emotion and just like
right. But
why do we like this guy? Why do we follow him?
Yeah, but you have to understand that like that's Jean-Luc Picard changed that for everybody.
I know.
Now the commander could like enjoy tea and snipping bonsai plants or something like that.
Right, yeah.
He could be somebody who was more of a philosopher. This guy's like, I don't get paid to. So I gotta make sure that I'm not moving my head at all when the upper part of my lower jaw moves when I do Sinclair.
Yeah, right.
I'm not a diplomat. I don't get paid to discuss terms with aliens. It's my job to enforce the peace here on Babylon 5.
I know.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like he's the hard-bitten, commander man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What works is that they just go for it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trek's problem, when it has one, is that it tries to be everything for everyone. And I just gave, I think it was on Backtracking, if you want to check that show out, talking about DS9 on Backtracking at backtracking.com. That's 3 Ks. We were talking about DS9, and I praised DS9 for the fact that, unlike I think a lot of Star Trek shows, it can do a lot of things. The people that they hired for that show can be dramatic, can do comedy, can do funny. Yeah. They're very talented performers.
Yes.
And not just a guy who's going to defend the laws on Babylon 5. But what gets him in trouble is they try to do comedy all the time. And like DS9, sometimes it's like, oh, O'Brien's can't find his underwear. Ooh.
Yeah, right.
And other times it's, we've got to fight back against the Dominion or whatever.
I know.
And it's just like the tone can be anything all the time. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And what I'm sensing from Babylon 5 is, yeah, there are going to be, some funny times. And there's going to be some serious times. But they just go for it, and they don't care if they're fitting that formula. They don't care if they're making a point about learning to read or whatever's happening on Trek this week.
Right.
It's not some bleeding heart thing. What you run into lines like, "Oh, thank God they dissolved the UN," or you run into Garibaldi's just going to be sexist, and we're just going to have to accept that.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
right.
He's talking about his dick. But turns out it was just his cartoons. But still, you kind of made a joke about him talking about his dick.
I know. I was like, how am I supposed to feel about this character? So am I supposed to be excited? Or I did like...
And you got a character like Ivanova who is... I know I'm going to really love if I keep watching this show. But why does she have to be... Oh, she's effective because she's not feminine. Do you know what I mean? Like
I know. And they did. I did notice that they did make some changes with her makeup from the movie pilot to the first episode, which I think were good choices.
Ivanova's not in the movie.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking about what's her name? This is terrible. The Minbari ambassador.
Oh, right, the Mira Furlan character.
Yeah, Mira Furlan character.
Well, and that continues. Like, she actually gets hair later in the show.
I read that. Like, she does some sort of thing, so she becomes a Minbari human hybrid.
Okay. See, that was a spoiler for me.
Me too. I was like,
no, you just right now live on the show. You just spoiled that for me.
Sorry,
but I'm going to spoil something for you. She starts dating Sinclair later, so I already thought well, they always meet in the garden in the observation thing.
Yeah.
I already thought people listening to this who have known this stuff for almost 30 years are like, these idiots think they're hurting each other. But I already knew what I knew, so I just assumed that she, changed her DNA later or something so they could be a couple. And so I'm guessing that's what happened. We just put it together.
I don't know.
Now we don't have to watch it.
All right. Save myself some time.
We can watch the sequel series, though. I think it's called Crusade. Which is, again...
It got canceled. I don't know how many episodes it was.
We don't like that word, Crusade.
Doesn't have the best.
I like that it stars Gary Cole. Another, apparently, douchebag, conservative, but that keeps it out of his work.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. I love these noodles. The thing about the noodles are like the stats. And I'm going to go through Midnight Caller. I can't go through any more of his roles.
I don't know.
You absolutely know his face.
Okay. I believe you. I do.
Look behind you. This is great content.
Okay. I do know his face.
Yes. Jeez. So anyway... Mike Brady in the Brady Bunch movie, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
Did we get that?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Yeah.
The Expanse.
The Expanse.
Let's talk solely, the only thing we're going to talk about, the only thing, is the character of Naomi.
Okay.
On The Expanse.
That's the only thing we're going to talk about?
Yes. And I want to talk about it from a female point of view. So, one second. I want your point of view on the character.
Okay.
In that... why does she suffer the most out of all the characters every year?
That is a fantastic question.
Amos gets an asteroid dropped on his head, and he still suplexes Big John Studd like down an elevator shaft. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. He's fine.
He's fine.
Why does it seem like she is our eternal lady of suffering,
especially physical suffering?
Yes,
it seems like. I don't know. Is it because she's a woman? I mean, we have other female characters on the show, like Avasarala and Bobby, but. I don't have a really great answer. I mean, she's a complicated character in some ways because she has like this past where she she was a part of this Marco's group with the Belters who were doing these things, and she felt like they were positive things, and then she realized that she was actually hurting and killing people, and she decided to get out.
Yeah, but they were doing like ironic protests and stuff, right? Like, but let's put a pair of pants on a mouse and put it in a drawer.
Yeah,
they weren't like doing like major terrorist crimes. That's like one of the reasons that she got out.
But she got out because she helped. She was responsible for some of that stuff.
All right, well,
that's what she cited. But
I mean, once you start dropping like asteroids on Earth, like that's.
I know.
Sort of leveled up.
Yeah,
I don't care that you blew up some
up.
mailboxes.
It is leveled up for sure. So maybe it's that. I mean, there's so much pain and hurt for her too because she left her son, and like I feel like we just didn't know about that for like a really long time.
Yeah,
and
why
don't...
the protracted torture scenes of torture of this woman?
I don't have a good answer. She's like super capable, and it's really frustrating for me to see her struggling so much because she's so smart and she's really capable and she's strong, and like, so why put her in this situation? Because she can handle it? I don't know. Like, oh, let's put Naomi in this situation and see what she does. Do the authors of these books just like love torturing her?
Well, Melissa Gilbert's on Babylon 5 at some point.
Wow.
I don't want you to repeat the questions I ask you. I want your answer to the question that I asked you.
I don't have a good answer.
Well, then maybe we should just bring the show to a close.
I don't know why. I don't.
Do you? But theorize with me. Let me throw some stuff out.
Okay.
See what you think.
Okay.
This is a show made by men, right?
Yeah.
Like the two men who are one man, which tells you that's all we need. Well, y'all men are uniting now to make Supermen?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sure there's female writers and directors at some point on the show, but this is a very, like Babylon 5, this is a very mannish universe.
Yeah.
It features women in positions of power. It features
like Drummer, who is kind of masculine too.
who also gets her hips and legs crushed.
Yes.
And tortured last season.
Yeah. And lots of people she loves and cares about dies.
It features a woman in political power who is fairly masculine in the way that she deals with things. It features a Step on Me Mommy idealized female character in Bobby, who's like, a little cutesy face who can also get in an Iron Man suit and kick your ass.
Right.
That's kind of wish fulfillment. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does this show employ female characters? I'm not criticizing it. The kids call this a vibe check.
No, that's a good point. I do think that...
And I'm wondering why all the storylines that they come up with for Naomi involve her being Holden's girlfriend.
A mother.
What's his name's mother?
Philip's mother.
Philip's mother.
Marco's ex.
Or just the recipient of incredible body abuse and damage. What does that mean? I feel like I'm on the precipice of an enlightenment, but I can't get over the cliff.
I feel like it means like they don't know what to do with her. Like, I feel like, which is, gosh, if that's it, that's really depressing. Because like, I don't know. I mean, like, what is Holden doing? Like, he's just trying to, I know, like, make things right and do the right thing, and
protomolecule.
Yeah, exactly.
Fred Johnson.
He's obsessed with the protomolecule and seeing Miller and that sort of thing. And but why can't
you got Julie Mao, who gets turned into soap on a rope. You've got Drummer gets crushed.
Yes.
I don't have anything else to say. And you've got like, why is this happening?
I don't. And I think you brought up a good.
You got Clarissa Mao, who has to mutilate her body with like implants, to get what she wants.
Yeah, right. I think you bring up something interesting. I think the vast majority of female characters on this show.
Meanwhile, Alex has just been sitting in a chair for 5 seasons drinking beer.
I know, right? Piloting. I mean, his ex-wife doesn't want to see him, but his now ex-wife.
I don't want to see him.
I know.
Going around.
But a lot of the female characters on the show have very strong masculine traits, for better or for worse. I mean, in Avasarala, who she dresses very femininely, but she has a very masculine way of dealing with politics. So what are you trying to say? Are you saying that being feminine isn't necessarily the same as being strong? Are you saying that you can't be feminine and be strong? Or is this just how you know how to write female characters? You just think of a man and just make it a woman. Why are they not do there just need to be more female writers for the show?
I don't know. Yes, absolutely. Yes. James Holden can fly all around the system and to other systems and keep a girlfriend the entire time. He's getting laid in the first scene of the pilot.
Yeah.
But Officer Rala, in order to save the Earth and pursue her political interests,
Right, she
has to
loses her
lose her
husband.
entire family.
Yeah. Yeah. And her daughter's mad at her too. So.
Just pointing something out.
No, that's a really good point.
Great show. One of my favorite shows.
I love the show, but it is not kind to female characters.
Yeah.
That's kind of depressing now that I'm thinking about it. And I feel like that is, I'm going to try not to let it completely affect the way I view it, but it's going to be hard to not look at it through that lens moving forward, I think.
What if Julie Mao was Jules Mao?
Was a guy?
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet is a little racer, and he's a little rich boy who's falls in with the OPA. And then Haley Atwell, who looks good in a fedora, is...
How does she feel about walking around barefoot?
Hey, more the better. Notice me, Vampire Senpai.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so she's got to track down, and she's washing her hair in his sink.
Yeah.
Is it the same thing? Or isn't it?
I think we as a society view it differently. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. I don't actually know that I want to put a judgment on it. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I think we should be able to write fully realized characters no matter what their gender, no matter how they present themselves. And I think we should be able to write characters that are feminine and yet strong, you know, and I don't think we should see feminine characteristics as being weak.
Well, I'll clap later.
Okay.
But,
all right.
you know, for a show that is obviously has, you know, women on staff and is made possible in part by its female cast, its female crew behind the scenes and everything else. This is why we're still doing this. Because of Babylon 5.
Maybe,
that's why
wow.
you grow up and J. Michael Straczynski, he just wants to score Patricia Tallman. And so, you know, we're going to look at it this way. And it's well, I guess I'll see you for my 8th favorite thing. It's how many things does this guy have?
I know.
And
right?
we just grow up on this kind of thing. And like, oh, yeah, women are okay as long as they don't keep their boobies out of the way.
You know what
and
I think it might be?
Those people grow up and they write book series and they go, oh, yeah, women exist. That's right. Let's make this character a girl. She'll still pee standing up, but she's a girl. That's how you pee in space.
I think
everybody pees standing up.
Right. I think we might be like so excited that there are quote unquote strong female characters. And I don't think that these are like bad female characters. I want to put that out there too. But that we don't necessarily think about like how they are portrayed and what is happening to them. And is that a positive thing?
I agree. We'll be back next week with a review of WandaVision number 4, a show about a lady that goes crazy over babies.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but I came to your apartment in the car with the dead. Now I'm falling on your floor.
Well, that's it for the show this week. I don't know if we accomplished anything. We just kind of let it out to run a little bit.
Just surfed a little bit, channel surfing, flipping.
That's another metaphor that I used before.
Yeah, I
so
know.
we'll just keep the other one on a leash.
Okay.
And talk about where you can find us online on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram. Search for Just Enough Trope. Join us there. Join us on our Discord as well. Also, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but if you are on a streaming service, you got to subscribe to that show.
That's right.
What do you do? Just randomly dial in and go, tall vampire girl. Oh, here's a show. Interesting. Okay. Looks like they're talking about vampire girls. Let's check this out.
Yeah, right.
2 hours later.
Yeah.
I don't care about The Expanse. Subscribe to that show. Then you can get it. You can see the ones in our backlog, and there's a ton.
There are a ton.
And they're not even all there. And we just we kind of doubled down with our provider and upgraded our storage. So maybe we'll put some back on there. But the point is there's a lot of just enough trope for you to enjoy. Mm-hmm. So subscribe to that so you can get that. And once you listen to it, don't listen to all of it. Do this first. Give us a rating and a review.
Yes, please.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
We need those.
Yes.
That's currency in this podconomy.
Ooh.
Econpodme. I broke my mouth. So give us that. Yeah. And give us a rating, a high one, because that's going to help us get through there too. So give us 5 bald pates. The pate, the top part of the head, kind of the point of the head. If your head was a square, where that right angle would be. Mm-hmm. Totally bald.
Yeah.
And then stipple it or something.
Put a fan of hair behind it.
Or if you're Garibaldi.
Yeah.
Paint some hair on. And no, just look. There, but for the grace of God, go we all.
Yeah.
Give us 5 stars instead. And we'd appreciate that. We'll be back next week, talk about something else. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Calaman.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.